To save my son, I jumped into the ocean and was submerged by kidnappers. Everyone thought I was dead, including my husband. 3 years later, I returned to find he had married a woman identical to me. She's my wife now, he said, shielding her pregnant belly. But just wait and see how I use his greed against him. I'll make him beg on his knees for the daughter he abandoned. To secure my son's safety, I offered myself as a hostage, only to be thrown into the sea by the kidnappers, drowning and losing my memory. Everyone believed I had perished in the ocean. Marcus Hayes's hair turned white overnight. 3 years after my supposed death, he remarried. The new bride looked exactly like me at 20, they were deeply in love, and even my own children were very close to her. The day I suddenly returned, Marcus Hayes shielded his pregnant wife and sternly told me not to approach. Serena is not only my legal wife, but she's also carrying my child. You can't possibly think of driving her away. I looked at the baby's welcome party invitation in my hand and couldn't help but chuckle. Marcus Hayes, after 3 years of amnesia, you're not the only one who remarried. The day I returned to Viridian City, Marcus Hayes picked me up himself. He asked me to sit in the back seat and spoke dispassionately about what had happened over the past 3 years. Serena really is a lot like you. She's at a flower arranging class today, so she couldn't come with me to pick you up. Ethan went to school. As for Sophia, Marcus Hayes paused, then told me truthfully, she was very young when you left. Now Serena takes wonderful care of her, treating her like her own child. I nodded. It all made sense. When I disappeared into the sea, my whereabouts were unknown. My daughter Sophia was only a little over 2 years old. It was natural for her not to remember me as her mother. Mentioning my 2 children, my heart melted. During those 3 years of amnesia, Marcus Hayes married someone else, and I married someone else too. If it weren't for the children I couldn't let go of, I wouldn't have come back. You must know, I remarried 2 years ago. I heard the tenderness and admiration in Marcus Hayes's voice. Serena is exactly like you at 20, straightforward, kind, and innocent. However, she's from a modest background, not as well-traveled as you, and she's a bit timid and shy. Please don't be too harsh on her if she seems a little unrefined. Seeing Marcus Hayes's concern that I might bully her, I was somewhat taken aback. I don't even know her. Why would I make things difficult for her? They loved each other deeply, and I had another man in my heart. If I hadn't wanted to see my children, I probably wouldn't have returned to Viridian City in this lifetime. Returning to the familiar home, I felt a moment of disorientation. Marcus Hayes and I had fallen in love at first sight on the Eastwood University campus. Deeply devoted to each other, he proposed to me publicly, arranging 999 roses downstairs at the women's dormitory building. After getting our marriage license, I chose this house in the residential complex and decorated it exactly how I wanted. Unfortunately, it had already been completely changed. Marcus Hayes noticed my disappointment. Serena is colorblind to red and green, so she couldn't distinguish between these 2 colors, which is why she redecorated. I nodded again. This is her home now. Naturally, she can decorate it however she wishes. Marcus Hayes paused slightly, as if thinking of something. Eleanor, you're different from before. I tilted my head. Is being different a bad thing? Marcus Hayes suddenly looked relieved, letting out a sigh. It's good. If it were your old temper, you wouldn't tolerate another woman by my side. Now it seems I was overthinking things. I had indeed said before that he shouldn't love any other woman besides me. Marcus Hayes had readily agreed back then, vowing never to change his mind until death, but the accident came too quickly. Just 3 years into our marriage, I died, becoming Marcus Hayes's deceased wife, whom he visited at the grave annually. He now had someone else he loved, which, in truth, had nothing to do with me, his deceased ex-wife. Yet, here I was, alive again. So, Marcus Hayes's tolerance meant this. I quickly tried to explain myself. Marcus Hayes, you've misunderstood. Before I could finish, Serena Hayes returned. She seemed both happy and shy to see me. Eleanor, hello, I'm Serena Hayes. I smiled and nodded in acknowledgement. Marcus Hayes walked over and actively helped Serena Hayes take off her coat and get her slippers. It was clear this was their daily routine for the past 2 years. Serena Hayes did indeed resemble me greatly. Her eyes, nose, mouth, and even the dimples when she smiled were identical. Eleanor, what do you like to eat? I'm a fantastic cook. I can make anything. Her tone was eager to please and slightly cautious. I had no intention of staying for dinner. After all, someone was waiting to take me home. No need, you can cook whatever you like. I'll be leaving shortly." The smile on Serena Hayes' lips vanished, while Marcus Hayes was in the kitchen. Serena Hayes let out a scream and sat down on the floor. She clutched her lower abdomen, her face contorted in pain. When Marcus Hayes rushed out, she looked wronged and endured. "Eleanor, are you angry that I'm carrying Hayes' child?" Marcus Hayes, in a panic, lifted her from the floor and glared at me. "Eleanor Vance, I can't believe how vicious you've become, unwilling to spare even an unborn child." His gaze at me turned to disgust. "Who have you been associating with these past 3 years? Learning these despicable, underhanded tricks, accused and suspected without reason." My heart suddenly ached. I saw the triumph in Serena Hayes' eyes and my tone turned cold. I didn't push her, saying this. I walked over and forcefully pushed both of them to the ground. "Now I did. Serena, be careful." Marcus Hayes tightly held Serena Hayes in his arms. Even though they fell onto a soft rug, he got up, his eyes looking like he wanted to kill me. "Eleanor Vance, are you insane?" He then turned and carried Serena Hayes to the hospital for a checkup, terrified that the baby in her womb might be harmed. And I, who he once cherished above all else, no longer received even a shred of his affection. I forced myself to calm down. This was not the time for an argument. Thinking of Serena Hayes' actions just now, I worried even more about my 2 children. Someone like Serena Hayes couldn't possibly genuinely care for my children. I sat at home, waiting for my daughter Sophia Hayes to return. Soon my daughter came back, nearly 6 years old. She greatly resembled me in her eyes and brows, but my daughter, upon seeing me, showed far less anticipation and joy than I did. Sarah, who was taking care of her, prompted my daughter, Sophia, "Say Mom quickly." My daughter's small face was full of reluctance. "Mom." My eyes welled up, and I choked, unable to speak. My daughter was only 2 when I was thrown into the sea by kidnappers. Now she had grown so much. I reached out to hug her, but she cautiously evaded me. I withdrew my hand, not minding. "Sophia, are Dad and Aunt Serena good to you?" My daughter nodded very emphatically. "Dad is busy, but he spends time with me whenever he can, and Aunt Serena is so good to me. She buys me pretty dresses and delicious lollipops, and our kindergarten teacher is Aunt Serena's best friend, and she cares a lot about me." My daughter chattered non-stop about Serena Hayes. A pang of soreness rose in my heart. My daughter suddenly stopped, and after seeing the caregiver leave, her face immediately fell, and she unhappily questioned me. "So why did you come back, Mom? Are you trying to drive away my favorite Aunt Serena?" I paused, surprised my daughter would say such a thing. My daughter looked at me with hostility. "I won't let you bully Aunt Serena. She's the person Dad loves most." I suppressed the heartache and smiled. "Mom isn't here to drive anyone away. Aunt Serena will always be your dad's wife." My daughter pressed on. "Then where are you going, Mom?" I smiled and replied, "Mom has already married someone else. I just couldn't stop worrying about you and your brother. So I came back to see you, and also wanted to ask you." My daughter interrupted me, her face full of shock. "Mom, you married someone else?" I nodded, but my daughter showed the same look of disgust as Marcus Hayes. "You have nothing. You don't even know how you survived. You must have sold your body. How could anyone want someone like you?" I couldn't believe those words came from my daughter's mouth. Marcus Hayes was right. My daughter truly didn't recognize me as her mom, and what she said was incredibly harsh. My gaze turned cold. "Did Aunt Serena tell you these things?" My daughter immediately shook her head, denying it, but I already knew the answer from her shifty eyes. And I couldn't help but feel lost and hurt. "Mom is back now and can take care of you and your brother. Would you like to attend Pine Ridge International Academy? Mom can arrange it for you." My daughter, however, was very resistant. "Mom, you're someone else's wife now. Why are you still trying to meddle in Dad's family affairs?" I hadn't expected my daughter to become like this. Lies came easily to her, categorizing people into tiers, showing preference for the rich and powerful, being selfish. But then I thought that I hadn't fulfilled my duty as a mom either, and I couldn't help but soften. "Sophia, if you miss Mom, you can call Mom anytime, and Mom will come pick you up, but Mom also has a condition. If you can promise to do it, then Mom will take you away." My daughter initially looked disdainful, but when the caregiver returned, she had no choice but to nod in agreement. After the reunion with my daughter, I was a little hesitant about whether to see my son. As dusk fell, my son Ethan Hayes returned from school. When he saw me, his eyes lit up. "Mom!" he shouted and rushed into my arms, hugging me tightly, unwilling to let go, crying and apologizing to me. "I'm sorry, Mom. It was all my fault for not listening that caused you to be taken away by those people. I really regret it. Boo-hoo. I patted my son's back, wiping his tears, and shook my head, speaking, "This wasn't Ethan's fault. Those kidnappers planned it." Marcus Hayes back then was decisive and wouldn't coexist peacefully with his rivals, wanting all of them to go bankrupt. I took my son to Adventureland Park, and we were targeted early on. To protect my son, I voluntarily offered myself as a hostage. After getting the money, those people, fearing retaliation from Marcus Hayes, threw me into the sea to be fed to sharks. I comforted my son for a long time before he finally stopped crying and left my embrace. He pulled out the National Math Competition Champion certificate he had just received. "Mom, look, Aunt Audrey taught me this. It's also the math subject you love to research the most. Dr. Audrey Lane was my college classmate and best friend. Now a university professor, the job I had always dreamed of. 2 years ago, Marcus Hayes remarried. My son met Dr. Audrey Lane at the wedding reception and has been studying with her ever since." My nose stung, and tears flowed again. A hint of disappointment flashed in my son's eyes. "But Dad is very busy, and Aunt Serena said I was startled when I was little and that a fever damaged my brain, so I wouldn't be able to learn well, but Aunt Audrey said my intelligence is perfectly fine. Mom used to do mathematical research, and since I'm Mom's child, I naturally will too." I nodded. "It's amazing that you, being so young, could win the National Math Competition champion. Mom is very proud of you." These weren't words of comfort but my genuine thoughts. My son finally felt relieved and smiled happily. I finally mustered the courage to ask, "Son, Mom has remarried, and I have a baby in my belly. She wants an older brother. Would you be willing to leave here with me and live in Harborview?" My son nodded vigorously twice. I hugged him tightly, weeping with joy. "Okay, Mom will pack your things. We'll leave in a bit." I chatted with Sarah, who cared for my daughter, for a while. Only then did I learn that after my accidental death, Marcus Hayes's hair turned white overnight. It was his friends who specifically found a woman similar in appearance to me to help him cope. Serena Hayes spoiled my daughter rotten, giving her whatever she wanted, turning her into someone aggressive and ill-tempered. She also constantly used my son's illness after the incident as an excuse to gaslight and manipulate him daily, making him believe he was a stupid good-for-nothing. My son said he wasn't dumb and had even secretly seen Serena Hayes also studying. It was clear Serena Hayes was very eager to secure her position, not even bothering to hide it from the children. This might be related to her pregnancy. I couldn't help but feel anxious about my daughter's future. Spoiling rotten, when applied to my daughter, was an invisible dagger meant to ruin a person. Unexpectedly, Marcus Hayes returned alone from the hospital. His face showed clear fatigue. "You'll stay in the guest room tonight. I'll have Maria tidy it up. I'll find you a suitable place to live as soon as possible, and then you can move there." I hadn't planned on staying overnight. "No need to trouble yourself. I have a place to stay," Marcus Hayes scoffed. "If you don't stay here, where else would you stay? You're my wife. I haven't even divorced you. If you suddenly come back and then leave, what will everyone think of me?" My son heard the commotion and came out to ask me, "Mom, it's raining in Harborview. Should I bring an umbrella?" I ignored Marcus Hayes and nodded to my son. "Bring it. We're going to Harborview now." "Harborview?" Marcus Hayes's eyes flashed with surprise. Then he seemed to realize something, looking at me with great mockery. "Is that what you told our son? You want to force Serena to leave? Serena is also my legal wife now, and she's carrying my child. You can't possibly think of driving her away." I couldn't help but chuckle. Where did Marcus Hayes get the confidence that I couldn't live without him? After all these years together, I really hadn't realized he was so narcissistic. "I've already remarried. My current husband is in Harborview." Marcus Hayes froze. Then his face turned extremely ugly. He asked again, uncertainly, "You really remarried?" I nodded. "I told you earlier that I wouldn't stay here. You just didn't hear me. From now on, we don't need to be in contact." I took my son and our luggage to leave. But Marcus Hayes caught up and blocked us. His expression was agitated. "That's impossible. The Hayes residence is now the wealthiest family in Viridian City. Can you truly leave everything behind? No matter who that man is, he can't give you everything I can. Can you truly be at peace with that?" I realized that Marcus Hayes and I no longer had anything to talk about. Marcus Hayes, when I was close to dying. Money and reputation no longer mattered to me. I just want to live the rest of my life peacefully with the person I love. Marcus Hayes was immersed in the pain of having regained and then losing me again. Even if you don't love me, what about our son and daughter? You don't want them either? I tightened my grip on my son's cold hand. My son is coming with me. As for my daughter, I hardened my heart. She wants to recognize Serena Hayes as her mom. Let her be happy with that. Marcus Hayes again blocked my car, still wanting to say something. I took the marriage license from my bag and showed it to him clearly. My legal husband was not him anymore. Marcus Hayes was utterly unwilling to give up. My son is also mine. Hayes Holdings will still need him to inherit it in the future. I rolled up the car window and replied coldly, I don't need that money. You can save it for Serena Hayes' child. I took my son back to Harborview. Liam Carter was still away on a business trip. Carter Industries was very busy lately, about to expand its business into Viridian City. After tucking my son into bed, I began to tally the assets brought into the marriage when I first got married. It could be said that half of Hayes Holdings' assets were mine. The next day, I arrived at the Hayes residence again with stock division documents and my lawyer. I had my valuable antiques and art collection, which I had purchased, moved out. Serena Hayes came out looking surprised and quickly came over playing the victim card. Eleanor, what are you doing? Hayes and you are husband and wife. You don't need to be so clear about division with him. I smiled slightly. You also got your marriage license with him. Serena Hayes said triumphantly, Of course, since you are, then I cannot be. There's no such thing as polygamy now. Your relationship with him has nothing to do with me. Serena Hayes gritted her teeth. You're bothered by this. Fine. I'll divorce Hayes and be his mistress from now on. I saw through her tactic of feigning retreat to advance, wanting to continue playing the victim card in front of Marcus Hayes and make me the villain. I ignored her and left after the items were moved. But she suddenly lunged behind me, cried out, and fell heavily to the ground, with red blood flowing from her lower body. Hayes, quick, save me and the baby. I had already anticipated this. Marcus Hayes, however, didn't help her up, but looked at me with a pale face. Liam Carter sent people to bring you here. He controls everything in Harborview. Only he can surpass me, but Liam Carter has someone he loves in his heart. He couldn't possibly marry anyone else. Are you rushing to be his kept woman? I slapped Marcus Hayes hard across the face, my palm stinging. I never thought that after so many years of knowing and loving each other, he would see me this way. Serena Hayes also stopped pretending, stood up, dropped a fake blood packet, and shielded Marcus Hayes. What are you doing, hitting someone? Do you want me to call the police? I told her to go ahead and call the police. She had extorted me twice in 2 days. I wanted to call the police myself. My daughter ran over, looking at me with disdain. Was Dad wrong? If you don't become a kept woman, do you have any other way to survive? I looked at her coldly, no longer feeling any softness. Sophia Hayes, Neil, my people forced my daughter to her knees, but my daughter stubbornly refused. Why should I kneel? I won't. I calmly told her. I am your birth mother. It is only right for you to kneel before me. Now you are siding with someone who has twice framed me. I don't need anyone's permission to discipline you. I never intended to flaunt my current status, so I politely declined Liam Carter's offer to personally escort me to Viridian City. Marcus Hayes watched me silently, not saying a word, as if still disbelieving. My daughter was still resisting fiercely, but it was futile, and she eventually knelt on the ground. Serena Hayes immediately stepped forward, acting like a compassionate mother. Speaking on behalf of my daughter, Sophia is still young. You can't treat her like this. It will leave her with psychological trauma. Then she again brought up my identity. I heard Mr. Carter's beloved passed away a long time ago. He married you and treats you as a plaything. Do you really think you've found true love? I advise you not to throw Mr. Carter's name around and show off here. Mr. Carter won't let you off if he finds out. Marcus Hayes snapped back to reality, looking at me with red eyes. Liam Carter doesn't truly love you. Wake up, you've already had 2 children. How could anyone truly care for you? Besides me? I couldn't help but laugh out loud. I never imagined there could be such a narcissistic person in the world. I said calmly, at least he's not like you. He won't just find a replacement and fall in love. I turned and left, not wanting to say anything more. My daughter realized she was being abandoned and chased after me in a panic. Mom, Dad won't chase you if you leave. Are you still going to leave? I turned my head to look at my daughter. I'm not your mom. Your mom hasn't left the Hayes residence. My daughter was utterly stunned. I told the driver to drive off and left without looking back. Actually, I didn't want to say much to anyone. The person Liam Carter had always loved was me. He was the one who followed the kidnapper's boat and jumped into the sea to rescue me. Doctors said I had severe brain injuries and lost my memory, and Liam Carter meticulously cared for me by my side. He presented himself as an older brother and never coerced me into anything. It was through our gradual interactions that I couldn't help but fall in love with him and actively pursued him. But Liam Carter didn't agree. Instead, when the doctors said it was possible, he told me everything. He actively helped me seek treatment and recover my memory. I still firmly chose Liam Carter with full knowledge of everything. At the same time, I understood one thing. Marcus Hayes didn't love me that much, otherwise, how could he fall in love with someone else so quickly after only 2 years? Even if Serena Hayes and I looked alike, there were always differences. It was impossible to be exactly the same. I married Liam Carter with a new identity, and then one day, I suddenly remembered everything. But I wasn't surprised at all because Liam Carter had already told me. It was only then that I was amazed to discover that Liam Carter had been present at every important moment of my life. For example, in high school, Liam Carter was the school's heartthrob and the student behind me in class. After college, Liam Carter was an assistant tutor in my group. Logically, with his excellent grades, he should have been guaranteed admission to a higher university and wouldn't have needed to come then. When I got married, Liam Carter gave an incredibly expensive wedding gift. For a while, everyone complimented Marcus Hayes on how impressive he was. Even Liam Carter came to congratulate him on his marriage. There were too many such incidents, making me almost accustomed to Liam Carter's presence by my side being completely normal. But that was just what I thought. When I first recovered my memory, Liam Carter had asked me very nervously, "Eleanor, will you blame me for keeping you by my side? After all, you were Marcus Hayes' wife, and I should have sent you back, but he only cared about his success in business and let you be in danger. I simply couldn't tolerate it. And he fell in love with someone else, and that woman is pregnant. Eleanor, please don't leave. I'm 1,000 times better than him." I looked at the almost identical scars on my hand, left from struggling with the assailants to save my son after I fell into the sea. Marcus Hayes held a grand funeral for me, but he didn't even organize a search party, because he believed I was sure to die, and for the sake of his so-called reputation. He played the part of a good husband in front of everyone. I tightly clasped Liam Carter's hand, softly comforting him. "I don't blame you. I'm just a little uncomfortable after recovering my memory. I still need to go back to Viridian City, not for Marcus Hayes, but because I truly can't stop worrying about my parents and 2 children." After returning to Harborview with my son, I began to investigate Serena Hayes. I discovered that she hadn't resembled me at all before. She had undergone plastic surgery to look like me afterward. This meant that someone had been paying for her plastic surgery a year after my death. After all, Serena Hayes was from a modest background and couldn't have afforded the expensive FEs. Serena Hayes deliberately tried to curry favor with Marcus Hayes and would also pretend to deeply love my daughter, naturally winning Marcus Hayes' affection. Just a few days later, I received a call from Marcus Hayes' lawyer. He wanted to give up custody of his son. I agreed without a second thought and hung up the phone. When Liam Carter returned, he saw me frowning and thought, "What's wrong? Did Marcus Hayes bully you?" I nodded. He indulged Serena Hayes in slandering me, and I gave both of them a piece of my mind. Liam Carter chuckled. "If he dares to upset you, I'll bankrupt Hayes Holdings in a heartbeat." I didn't agree. "No need. There's no point in wasting time on someone like that." I knew Liam Carter was very busy lately and didn't want him distracted by such minor matters. Liam Carter appreciated it. My wife truly cares about me the most, however. Marcus Hayes' actions have already provoked public outrage. He will reap what he sows. Another half-month passed, and Liam Carter successfully took over the Viridian City business district. He brought my son and me to attend the celebration banquet. I dressed my son in a suit, and his eyes were red as he looked at me. 3 years ago, I had also let him out like this. I knew my son was scared. I hugged him tightly. "Don't be afraid. Mom will never leave you this time." Only then did my son relax, and he got into the car with me to the banquet. I held my son's hand with one hand and Liam Carter's arm with the other as we entered. I met Marcus Hayes' gaze directly. His eyes held shock, surprise, and some resentment. Liam Carter directly blocked Marcus Hayes' gaze and warned him coldly, "Mr. Hayes, your wife is over there." Marcus Hayes nearly crushed the champagne flute in his hand, finally forcing a fake smile. "Thank you for the reminder, Mr. Carter." His gaze fell on my son, hoping he would speak to him, but my son just looked down, not meeting his eyes. My son already knew about his decision to abandon him and naturally didn't want to acknowledge him as his father now. Marcus Hayes was displeased and was about to speak. Liam Carter picked up my son and spoke to me. "You and the child can eat whatever you like. If you get tired, go to the private room on the second floor to rest. No one will disturb you." Liam Carter did this on purpose, because Marcus Hayes was clearly overcome with jealousy. I stifled a laugh and intertwined my fingers with his. At the banquet, I ate cupcakes and desserts with my son while watching Liam Carter give a speech on stage. I had to say, this man was incredibly handsome. I could look at him all day and never get tired. Grandma Evelyn Carter was also there. She was especially fond of me. Her granddaughter-in-law, Eleanor, "Is this your son? He looks just like you." My son politely called her grandma. Fortunately, Liam Carter's grandma was not an old-fashioned person. She adored my son and immediately decided to give him $100 million welcome gift. Everyone in the room gasped. Only the Carter family could be so generous. After the banquet, my son and I went home. While he was on summer break, I called my best friend, Dr. Audrey Lane, and we went traveling abroad. Hayes Holdings had not only lost a significant portion of its founding shares due to me, but it had also been severely impacted by Carter Industries. Now, the company was not far from bankruptcy. My daughter was furious that my son received $100 million and threw tantrums at home every day, even scaring away the caregiver. My daughter herself ran to Harborview to find me. The bodyguard, seeing how much she resembled me, let her in. My daughter cried as she spoke to me. "Mom, I know I was wrong. I knew why she came. It wasn't out of genuine sincerity. I promised you before that I could take care of you and your brother, but there was a condition. Are you willing to agree to it?" My daughter's eyes showed her reluctance to leave everything at the Hayes residence. After all, she was a little princess there. Whereas here I would restrict her behavior and make her learn manners. My daughter ultimately couldn't give up the Hayes residence, that greenhouse-like existence, and refused. "No, I don't want to stay here." I nodded and had the bodyguard send her back. My daughter's face was filled with awkwardness and humiliation. After Liam Carter fully took control of the Viridian City business district, Hayes Holdings finally couldn't hold on and went bankrupt. I knew Serena Hayes must have contributed to this. After all, she stayed by Marcus Hayes's side, numbing his senses with her charm, and deliberately corrupting my daughter. It was clearly her intention to harm Marcus Hayes. Her actions were so meticulous, she must have had outside help, and it was clearly pre-planned. This whole matter was suspicious. That evening, I went to Liam Carter's home office. He would definitely know. Serena Hayes doesn't love Marcus Hayes at all. The person she loved was driven to suicide by Marcus Hayes. Serena Hayes had loved someone else, but Marcus Hayes had driven that person to bankruptcy, and the entire family eventually committed suicide. Serena Hayes was seeking revenge, and the people who provided her with the plastic surgery funds were surprisingly the victims whose families were ruined by Marcus Hayes. Soon, Serena Hayes ran away with all the money from the Hayes residence, leaving Marcus Hayes and my daughter with not even a single dollar. Marcus Hayes's quality of life plummeted. My daughter came knocking again. She simply couldn't bear living on the streets and didn't know what to do, so she could only beg me for help. I didn't make things difficult for my daughter. I simply sent her to my parents' place to be looked after. 10 months later, I gave birth to a daughter who was deeply cherished by the Carter family. My son also loved her. After all, she was my child and his little sister. My daughter didn't have an easy time at school because of Marcus Hayes's past actions. She was ostracized by all her classmates. Every time she saw me, her eyes were red. I simply told her calmly, "I've already arranged your transfer to Pine Ridge International Academy. The teaching resources there are much better." Tears streamed down my daughter's face. "Mom, I know I was wrong. I'm willing to start over, Mom. What's your condition?" I'll agree to anything initially. I just didn't want my daughter to be corrupted by Serena Hayes and thought about taking her away. I hadn't thought much beyond that. Don't forgive Marcus Hayes. He doesn't deserve to be your father. If I could be said to have failed in my motherly duties by saving my son, Marcus Hayes, who was with his daughter every day, also failed to do what a father should. His blind arrogance harmed me. And now he can't even raise 2 children. He truly doesn't deserve to be a father. My daughter nodded, seeming to understand. "I know, Mom, I won't see Dad again." I was willing to slowly teach my daughter how to be a person again. as long as she could stick to her word. I returned to my parents' home in Viridian City to pick up my daughter's luggage and unexpectedly encountered Marcus Hayes. I almost didn't recognize him. Compared to his former glamorous identity as Mr. Hayes, the current Marcus Hayes, who was worse than an ordinary person, was truly pathetic. He was unshaven, and his hair hadn't been washed for days, resembling a bird's nest. If he hadn't spoken, I would have thought he was a beggar. Marcus Hayes refused to let me go, weeping and begging me, "Eleanor, you're the one I love. Serena Hayes deceived me. She doesn't truly love me." I smiled. "Whether she truly loves you or not isn't important. What's important is that she is still your legal wife." Marcus Hayes's face turned pale, and he spoke tremblingly. "I'll file for divorce as soon as possible. Serena Hayes provoked discord between you and your daughter. Don't you want to get revenge on her?" I scoffed. "So you knew all along but tacitly allowed Serena Hayes to spoil our daughter rotten, didn't you? You were willing to ruin our daughter to gain Serena Hayes's favor. Marcus Hayes, you disappoint me greatly. I had my bodyguard drive him away. I heard that when he filed for divorce, Serena Hayes appeared. She appeared in court and began feigning tears and playing the victim, claiming Marcus Hayes had domestically abused her, causing her to lose the baby, which was why she ran away. Serena Hayes refused to divorce, and the petition was dismissed. Marcus Hayes was so enraged he fainted on the spot. I knew Serena Hayes wouldn't easily let go of Marcus Hayes, that murderer. For the next 5 years, I became a stay-at-home mom, meticulously raising my 3 children. My daughter's flawed values were finally corrected by me. She was no longer so impulsive, and she would also help her brother take care of their little brother. She also understood that a family should help each other. Liam Carter did not become a sole dominant force like Marcus Hayes had been. Instead, he maintained friendly relations with his peers and occasionally collaborated for mutual progress. This time, I didn't encounter any danger because Liam Carter truly took excellent care of me and the children. Liam Carter had long ago publicly announced that the Carter family's assets would be equally inherited by all 3 children, distributed fairly and justly. To say I wasn't moved would be a lie. Liam Carter's kindness to my children was 1,000 times more considerate than their biological fathers. Marcus Hayes tried to find me twice more but was blocked by the bodyguards, until one day, I woke up from my nap to find my youngest son missing from the nursery. My daughter looked terrified and burst into tears. Dad said he wanted to quietly see my brother, so I let him in. I didn't know he would take my brother. I was very anxious and immediately called Liam Carter. Upon hearing the news, Liam Carter immediately mobilized everyone to search. I didn't blame my daughter. After all, she was still a child, and Marcus Hayes had deliberately tricked her. I frantically searched for my child and then received a call from an unknown number. It was Marcus Hayes on the other end. He arranged to meet me at the abandoned warehouse near Adventureland Park in Viridian City. I shuddered. That was where my son had been kidnapped years ago. Liam Carter and I went together. I finally saw the child. He was sleeping peacefully, completely unharmed. Only then did I breathe a sigh of relief. "Marcus Hayes, what exactly do you want?" Marcus Hayes gave a bitter laugh. "If I say I want your help, will you believe me?" Of course, I didn't believe him. He was capable of kidnapping a child and chose to meet here, clearly having another plan. Liam Carter spoke. "You want to revitalize Hayes Holdings? Fine, I'll help you, as long as you release the child." Marcus Hayes also didn't trust Liam Carter. Liam Carter suggested he could swap places with the child as a hostage. This decision was just like the one I made back then. Marcus Hayes considered it for a moment before agreeing. "Don't try any tricks, or I can't guarantee what I'll do." Liam Carter went over to exchange places with the child. I finally held the child when I suddenly heard Liam Carter shout, "Eleanor, run! The police are outside." I didn't even have time to think. My body instinctively obeyed Liam Carter, and I scrambled to safety. The police were indeed ambushed outside. As soon as I got out, I was immediately protected. Sounds of a struggle came from inside the abandoned warehouse, followed by a gunshot. I was stunned. Marcus Hayes actually had a gun on him. I wanted to rush in to check on Liam Carter's injuries, but the police stopped me. "You can't go in now. It's too dangerous. Our people will go in to assist." Soon after, both of them were carried out. My hands trembled as I reached out to touch Liam Carter's face, unable to believe something had happened to him. Liam Carter groaned and opened his eyes, immediately tearing up when he saw me. "Honey, the bullet almost hit me. It just grazed my skin. It hurt so much." I froze. then tightly hugged him and burst into tears. Liam Carter realized something was wrong, immediately dropped his playful act, and seriously comforted me. "Don't be afraid, I'm fine." I knew he had a gun on him and was prepared for it, so Liam Carter suggested the hostage exchange to ensure the child and I wouldn't get hurt. Marcus Hayes died by his own gun when he was carried out of the abandoned warehouse. His eyes were wide open, as if he hadn't expected to lose his life. It's said that after Serena Hayes found out, she quickly agreed to the divorce and disappeared without a trace, and as I looked at the man on the hospital bed, I knew I had finally found a safe harbor to rely on, and the one person I could entrust my future to.